Heard you had a good lunch.
We did, yeah.
Did you? Yeah, it is. So you've got things flying through there. You've got traffic coming from all directions. It's not easy to walk through there. When I bike through there, I'm pretty nervous about getting through those spaces. So it's definitely a great place to be able to have this complete street coming all the way through. So it's really kind of the starting point for a lot of this.
You can feel like you stand in something like this, and it just feels a little hostile to you as a pedestrian, right?
It does.
We've inherited a lot of those.
Exactly. It's all inheritance, and you don't want to set blame anywhere. It's just because that's kind of what everything. The car was.
What people thought road engineering was. Right?
That's exactly right. Yeah. So it was really just a matter of traffic was going to flow in this way. We're all going to be in cars, so why do we have to worry about where we're walking anyway? But if you're down here, especially, I mean, you can see over here. There's a lot of kids walking right now. We're right around the time that school's getting out. They're actually going to a place we call the Dream Center, which is a nonprofit organization here. After school programming. A lot of them will be there for meals and things like that this evening. So we need walkability here to be able to have all that. So we're heading that direction, right? Okay. When the light is appropriately saying walk.
Safety first.
There were a lot of people who were saying this could increase accidents. There's all kinds of problems that we're going to have here. But as we've done it, I mean, the way traffic flows so smoothly through there, it's built for pedestrians to walk easily across. We hear very few complaints about those roundabouts these days because it really does move traffic.
Such huge community support for them.
Yeah.
Once people get their heads around, we had the same thing. I mean, people hated them.
Yeah.
I didn't think now they wouldn't want it any other way, but you had to get through that. We saw a very similar pattern in South Bend. There's this kind of bleeding edge pioneers of young people, but then a lot of it was, these kids were kind of out of the house. They thought, I can do all the things I was enjoying before. Go out to eat, go to a show or something.
And they're having some of the most fun of anybody in the community at this point, it seems. The only other places where people can cross the highway, cross the railroad in Dubuque, if you're not taking that highway that you see up ahead of you, is down that way on a street that's probably, how many blocks? Like a mile down that way. And then 3rd Street, which goes into our Port of Dubuque. We're on 14th now. 3rd Street is the only other spot.
A couple of miles.
Yeah. So from a pedestrian standpoint, if there's a train stopped right here, you're stuck. You're not going anywhere else.
As mentioned, we have a total of 13 crossings, 11 currently at grade, only 2 separated. So in terms of safety, that's an issue. We do have a bike tunnel up here that what you're seeing is our lower B Branch Creek. This is part of our $100+ million flood mitigation project that we've been working on 20 years. Dubuque's very flat. When it rains hard, all this area we had trouble moving the water out to the river. So we've opened up our 1 mile greenway, providing recreational access, increased natural habitat. All this water was underground in a box culvert. We've daylighted the natural creek that's there.
Now you mentioned that you were hearing concerns about these at-grade railroad crossings, everywhere you go. I mean, how does this line up with some of the solutions that have been, approved at least?
Well, you see, especially as you see more and more frequent and longer trains, when they start to get backed up, or when they're stopped, that can be a major impediment that's affecting not just convenience for people who might have to go a long way around to get across, but even safety if that's slowing down an emergency vehicle. And that's one of the reasons why we have a whole fund for railroad crossing elimination, one of the new elements created in President Biden's infrastructure package, and also other funds that can go into that, including the RAISE grant, which will go to the planning work that's being shared with me right now. It doesn't mean it's the right answer in every single location. There's 200,000 railroad crossings, at-grade crossings in the country. But you see ones like this, I certainly understand why the community has a vision that would effectively take care of that conflict with safety benefits and benefits in terms of movement and time savings. Well, one thing I'm really struck by is, as leaders here were explaining to me, the effect that $5 million in money from our department during the Obama administration unlocked more than $100 million in private investment here. So I think what that shows you is where the need is great, you can get a lot of bang for your buck by making the right investments in the right places. We're also trying to make sure that there's a good, strong design process so that when you do flip over to construction mode, you can stay on time, on task, and on budget. So that $2 million+ going into the planning will help Dubuque set up for success if they decide to go forward on construction.
Are you concerned at all about debt ceiling, discussions, potentially, getting in the way of any of this investment before it can get out the door?
Yeah, I mean, one thing you see in the Washington conversation is people talking about non-defense discretionary spending. That's that category, as if all of it's frivolous. What we see out here is how, in addition to the importance of national defense, dollars that go into making communities better off are dollars that you get a really good public return on investment for. So, as these conversations go on, I'm hoping that they stay grounded in the reality that what's being negotiated in these budgets is, in many cases, very physical, concrete possibilities for communities, as well as things like air traffic control and railroad safety that I think everybody cares about, that we need to be able to keep funding.